What's going on, troopers? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission, and today we got one of my favorite troopers in the academy, Anthony, here to talk all things fitness and nerding out, dude. I love the mug.
Hey,
Should give us a look at the mug, the Mando mug.
cheers.
Cheers. This is the cafe. This is the cafe right here. So, um, I mean, while we're talking Star Wars, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
I feel like I have two sons,
Okay.
and I've become very fond of the Clone Troopers because we were watching Clone Troopers when our first was on the way, and same with the second.
Yeah,
Two sons, their middle names are Rex and Cody. So Rex is kind of like a fan favorite. So,
that's awesome. I think my
so
wife unknowingly really likes the name Sevi for a girl. I never heard of it before, but she's like, yeah, and we can shorten it to Sev. And I was like, oh, you mean the Delta Squad Commando? Yeah, don't do that. That would be
no,
terrible.
definitely bad idea. Would have.
Yeah. So we'll
I
see.
like
We'll
that.
see how it lands. But yeah, dude, just
That's
want to
nice.
have you share your story and give some inspiration to future troopers that are watching this. So wind the clock
Sure.
back. What was going on a year ago in your health, your fitness, and really just your life that got you to a point to looking into making a change?
Yeah. So before I became kind of like an official member of the community here, I was actually kind of on like the side of it where you had done some great content about actually one that really impressed me, by the way, was when you dressed as Anakin and you went to the store and you were like, "This is good. This is probably not great." That really helped because it showed me that you had a lot of like gumption to just go out there and be like filming in a store, and people must have been like looking at you like, "What's this guy up to?" You know. But that really impressed me, and I started doing some of the things that were recommended and taking advantage of some of like the free stuff that you made available to everyone, which was awesome. And I saw a good number of results. I saw weight loss, I saw improvement in muscles and stuff. And then in March of 2024, I had like a health challenge where basically like it kind of knocked me off from doing this, and I had like a lot of doctor's appointments and they weren't sure what was wrong, and then basically they never came to any conclusion whatsoever, right? So it was one of those things. But basically it threw me off of what I was doing, and then shortly after that, we had our second child. But the reason I had done it in the first place was because, like many parents, we had our first child, and it sort of sent me into this like mode of like, okay, don't pay attention to your health, just focus on work and the kid and whatever. And then, no time it felt like left for me. Um, so I found this weird place where I was like not in a good health position, like gaining weight, feeling a little like soft around the middle and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on here, right? So that's when I did it first. Got knocked off the block a little bit, had our second, moved into a new home, which also was awesome, but again, a lot of stressful things happening. And then a few months into being here and kind of getting settled and everything, I was like, I should really give that a second try. And it was, available, and I needed it, and it made sense. And we were fortunate enough to earn like one of the scholarship programs that you had going on. And it was like the perfect timing because now I had a great place to actually do a lot of the workouts when we were living in kind of like a smaller place. I was literally like doing them in like the living room, right? Because that's you do what you got to do where you can, right?
Yeah.
But I had hit the thing that made me like tip over the edge and say I really got to do something is because I needed accountability and I needed it to be fun. And I'm a competitive person by nature, and now many months into the program, kind of I'm feeling still the competition of wanting to like win the challenges and stuff like that. But I was at my heaviest that I ever remembered, which I was like looking down, and you know how you look down and you see your big toes on the thing, and it starts 197, 98, 99, and it was like it read 201 for a second, and then it went down to 199 after it like settled, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's like the heaviest that I'd ever been.
Yeah.
And I realized that that was sort of a problem because that's not a great place to be when you have a second child and you're trying to keep up with them and balance of business and work and everything. So it was like that moment where I remember looking down and see 199 and change. I was like, whoa, I got to do something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally. And kudos to you for doing that because so many guys, especially dads I talk to, struggle with putting themselves first. And it's this
definitely.
balance of I'm putting the family first.
Right.
But I love this. Someone gave me this visual the other day. Leadership is on your knees in the front, not from a throne behind. And it is something that I remember watching you during one of our group workouts that I thought was so cool. Didn't have weights. You started doing squats with one of your kids. And I was like, man, this guy's literally, doing what he can with what he has available while still being there for them. And I
Yeah.
thought that was such a cool like visual that is such a great example of, yeah, just like making work with what you can. And so as you started to get into the routine and you're doing the challenges, you're having fun, what were some of the shifts that you noticed making? Maybe it wasn't tactical, maybe it was, but also just mentally. Like what were some of they might have been big shifts, 30, 40 degrees, or maybe they were little 2 degree
Mm.
shifts that you noticed
Yeah.
yourself making.
Yeah, I could think of a couple. The first is the time of day that the workouts happen. First child, it's easy for you just to say, okay, can you watch him for a little while? And you could do it at any time of day. Second child comes, you try to do a workout after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's a very high likelihood that a child will need to be like rocked to sleep or something. Something will come up in your day, right? So all of a sudden, I found myself instead of doing things in like the afternoon, evening, which is where I was typically doing it 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, which I had never really done ever. And I realized that I needed to get it done early in the morning. Otherwise, the likelihood of it happening because of interruptions, things outside of my control, was very high.
Yeah.
So that was a huge shift to me because if you would ask me a while back, like before children, are you a morning person? I would say, no, I'm a night owl, right? I'm best from noon until like 3 in the morning or something. But now
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that falls asleep at like 8 o'clock. But that was one big thing. The second thing is for sure the eating, which, having kind of like a structure and accountability made it so that now I kind of, even though I'm still tracking very closely the consumption, I have a good intuition for like, I think that's probably more than I should do. And I'm the kind of person that before this would have like finished everything on the plate and like overserve myself,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm the kind of person who underserves, checks what it is, and then if it's okay, I'll go back and maybe have a little bit more. But I noticed just the amount and the volume being a lot less, which it makes me imagine how many calories and other things that I was eating, without really tracking it and not being careful. So those are the two biggest things. And then, um, thinking about it daily because the competition is kind of what drives me.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Marcos, our other teammate here said that I could, men will die for points. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I got to do a second workout today. I got to do two. Got to do something, get more points. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just the competition, competitive nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then yeah. So
Yeah. I'm gonna actually let you answer this in a little bit of a unique way than most people. I know you have
sure,
your profession is in the financial industry.
sure,
What would you say are three? Because normally I do like, hey, what are your three keys to success? Right? And people share their three keys to success. If you could articulate it in a way that also has a parallel to what you do with your work. Because I remember you commented on one of my videos, and you're like, oh, yeah, I tell my clients that all the time. Saving
yes,
$100 is better than not saving anything. Working out 10 minutes is better than not working out at all. We build up this big, well, if I can't do $1 million, then what's the deal?
right.
Right? Maybe it's an hour, maybe it's whatever. So, what would be kind of three parallels that you see that people could use to
Mm.
kind of connect the dots?
Yeah, that's a great. Thank you for asking about it. So that yes, 100%. The first like fallacy is like if I can't do X, I shouldn't do anything. Right? We see that in our field. If I can't invest a bajillion dollars, like why even bother? Why even make a plan, right? And the real answer is because you could do a lot of good things with what you have that will make the future better for you. And I came into this place with that same mindset because I was used to very much going to a gym. And I was like, well, if I don't have like at least 45 minutes to an hour, I gotta get my stuff on, get in the car. It's 10 minutes there, park, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm only on the thing for 30 minutes. Why even bother? Right. But now instead of doing it at home, it's a lot more. You could just do 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you have, and get something in for the day. And it helps with the consistency. In the financial world, consistency is the best thing that you can do. If you just do something and invest one time, that's going to have way different results than investing a specific amount or a set amount monthly. Same thing when it comes to like debt, right? Which I would sort of look at that as maybe like being overweight or maybe a parallel there.
Yeah.
Um, I would say that there's a lot of like maybe like stigma again about like the journey that people go on to become debt free. For some, it is longer than others, and some just have none, and then they're like, so some people are born with a very high body fat, like they kind of have genes where they don't carry a lot, and some have different lifestyles and whatever. But what I appreciate very much about where we are here is the fact that no matter where somebody comes in, to the picture, that they have a lot of positivity and they have people that are going to be encouraging of them because what people really need is kind of like a an arm around that says like, "Hey, you got this, man. You're doing great." They see the progress, and even if they're not where they want to be just yet, it's like a lifestyle change, like a journey, not like a destination.
Yeah.
Same thing with debt. And then, forward thinking about where you want to be 5 years from here, 10 years from here with your health is the same thing that we do like projections in the financial field. Like, hey, I want to buy a house, I want to do this, I want to retire, I want to send my kids to school, whatever. And I was just actually today visiting a friend of ours who is unfortunately ill and in kind of like an acute care place. And it made me really appreciate the vitality that I have and the long-term effect that the decisions that I'm making today are going to have on my health in the future. And it also makes me like concerned, curious about where I would have been if I hadn't made any changes,
Mm.
right? Where that projection would be and where the shortfall would be versus like, the longevity that we'll have because of, just better overall health and fitness and thoughtful intake and everything like that. So it's crazy because you really need an accountability partner because most people who work with any kind of financial person, they're not just looking for someone who can say, yes, do this. They're looking for someone who can do that and give them a plan, but then check in with them. And that's what I think people need here too, is they need someone to say, hey, how's it going with this? Make adjustments. Is this, are you leveling up in this area? Do we need, support in an area, understanding? And that's the way it is here too. So I appreciate a lot of the similarities that the fields have.
Yeah. It was interesting. I had a kind of a scary thought a couple of days ago where I saw a post and then I saw some family members who were in their 70s and health wasn't in a good spot.
Mm.
And I was just like, man, what butterfly effect actions am I doing today that might potentially be the 5-degree trajectory shift? Like, what if I get hooked on Dot's pretzels and that spirals me into then having this like carcinogenic,
Yeah.
other snack that then develops like prostate cancer? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing right now? And obviously, we can't think that way, but it is so true and interesting how a
Yeah.
decision at 30 impacts life at 70.
Definitely.
And if you want to get
Majorly.
up off the toilet, that starts with building muscle now, right? If you want to get off the toilet at 70, that starts with building muscle now. If you want to get off your lawn chair on retirement, that starts with right now. And I always kind of joke too, Palpatine didn't take over the Republic, you know, the day he became chancellor. He started when he became a senator.
Thinking way ahead, right? Long
Yeah.
game.
Like you want to talk the long game, like that guy's a financial planner, as bad as he is. And so, um, yeah, curious for you, man, like looking back, like what have been some big wins? And then also what are some big things that you're excited about?
So there's been some scale, what they call scale victories, right? Your weight going down, and if you uh, if you were to hold it upside down, let's see here. If you were to hold the scale and like the trajectory in the right manner, you might look at something like this and say, "Wow, that either looks like a really good or a really bad investment, depending on which way you hold it."
Yeah.
But it mirrors the investment world. Like, no investment goes straight up or straight down. It's usually like a course over time. And so,
Yeah.
that's been some of the biggest improvements is that we've seen our weight go down. Like, we're almost at 20 pounds, which for someone who started pretty close to 200, that's like 10% of my body weight.
Yeah. That's a lot.
exactly. And I'm impressed, but also, at the same time, I saw a picture from the back of me holding my son, like this, basically. And I was like, wait, oh, that's me. So like when you start to like not quite recognize, and then you're like, oh my goodness, like you see your results from like a slightly someone else's perspective, because all you typically see is just, this in the mirror or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's been awesome. So scale victories, non-scale victories, old clothes fitting, which, is great. Some clothes not fitting anymore because they're too big now and they feel like you're swimming in your pants kind of thing, and you have to get like new shirts, new pants. But the other thing that also feels really good is on Tuesdays, I take my son to go to do swim lessons. And the way that I started, where I was kind of like, like you want to take off your shirt to go in the pool, versus the way that I am now, where it's just like, okay, let's get in the pool kind of thing, because I feel a lot more confident.
Yeah.
And I think that confidence also reflects from a business standpoint. So, if you are in your own business or maybe in sales or sales management or some kind of publicly facing work, the way you carry yourself has a lot to do with the way that you feel
Yeah.
and the way that you think about how you look or how you present yourself. So there's definitely a lot of like psychology behind that, but that's another big improvement that I feel I've seen, is that just improvement in the business world with the way that we kind of carry ourselves, and just the way that we feel, and that kind of in a good way oozes out of us when we present something.
Yeah. I
So
like
there's been a lot of that, but it's also awesome just to hear your spouse say like, "Hey, that looks really good," or like, you just get some compliments from your partner. That feels really good too. So, all
Yeah.
those things are great.
Dude, that's awesome. You hit on confidence, you hit on business, you hit on relationship, like a full circle thing of looking at that. And you're totally right in that. I often find what people are looking for is being able to be present.
Hmm,
And right, free, like people talk about financial freedom. I almost feel like there's almost like a health freedom version of that as well, where you're not
definitely.
worry about the future, or worry about the pool, or worry about how you're presenting at work because you've taken care of that. And so if anyone's watching this, you know, it's important to make sure that wherever you're starting, start small, but what you're building towards is being able to be present and make every moment matter because you don't have that anxiety in the back of your head wondering, am I, is my future secure in a way? So glad we were able to weave in the financial side of things because it's not an angle that we've been able to talk about, but I figured no one better than you. So
Thank you.
yeah, I'll throw you another Star Wars curveball here. Favorite weapon, non-lightsaber, right?
Not a
Lightsaber.
lightsaber.
What's a non
Um,
favorite weapon in Star Wars that's not a lightsaber?
I think I like Han Solo's blaster. Was it DL-44?
Yeah,
I like many. I played a lot of Star Wars games, and I played one called Star Wars Galaxies a long, long time ago. That I was like a weaponsmith, and it was awesome. They had like a whole economy and everything, and that's what I made. It was a lot of DL-44 and stuff like that. So,
yeah. I always
um,
find it interesting. It's got a scope on it, and
yeah, totally
ever,
impractical, right?
you ever have a blaster with a scope? Like he's hip firing the entire time, unless he's got a set of eyes in his belt. Like, what do you need that scope for?
Just slinging it, but he ain't aiming that hard. You know what I mean? But hey, whatever. It
Yeah,
looks good.
exactly. Exactly. It looks cool. Dude, thanks for the time, man. Excited for you and excited to watch you continue to progress and
Thank you.
excited for you to be Trooper of the Week, man. Congrats.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for all your help.
Yep. Later, brother.